So, hello and welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. In this session, Louisa and I will give you a brief introduction to the MSCA actions, and then we'll dive deeper into the changes to the work program for 26 to 27. We look forward to sharing our insights with you and hopefully answer any questions you may have. So just some quick comments. So we see, yes. The webinar will be recorded, but as you've probably already noted, your microphones are muted and your cameras are off. So this means that it will only be Louisa and I that will be starring in the recording. And the recording will be made available to you on our website, so you have the possibility to revisit. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A function. And if you have technical issues or comments, please use the chat. So today's agenda, we'll give a brief introduction to Eurocenter, then a short introduction to the MSCA actions. Then we'll dive into changes and adjustments in the Marie Curie work program for 26 to 27. And then we'll have the pleasure of having Emily joining us. Emily is a senior officer at the Department of Research, Advice and Innovation at DTU, and she will share some practical insights into the application process. And then finally, we'll have time for your questions, but please don't hesitate to ask your questions during the webinar, as we'll try to answer them as they arise. So Louisa and I represent the Eurocenter, which is a part of the Danish Agency of Higher Education and Science. And our main task is to ensure active Danish participation in Horizon Europe. And to do that, we provide a range of services. We advise on funding opportunities within Horizon Europe, and we also offer guidance on legal matters and financial matters related to the program. And in addition, we hold client meetings, and we also organize webinars such as this, networking events, and more. So here you have an overview of all my wonderful colleagues, the Danish national contact points and program committee members. And as you can see, Louisa and I are the national contact points for MSCA actions, and you are also very welcome to contact us if you have any questions regarding the Marie Curie actions after this webinar. And now I'll give the floor to Louisa, who will give a short introduction to the MSCA actions.
Thank you, Laura. Yes, and when we talk about the Marie Skłodowska Curie Actions, it's important to highlight the foundational principles. First of all, excellence is at the core. The program supports high-quality research and training. As you can see, MSCA, or in Horizon Europe, MSCA is part of Pillar 1, which is the pillar of excellent science, and is in company with the European Research Council and research infrastructures. Mobility is another key element. And that means international, intersectoral, and interdisciplinary movement of researchers. MSCA is also bottom-up, which means that it supports all research areas without predefined topics. It is open to the world, welcoming participation from across countries and sectors. And finally, the program runs in yearly calls, giving researchers regular opportunities to apply. One specific feature of MSCA that is worth mentioning is the use of unit contributions rather than lump sums. This funding model provides fixed amounts per researcher or per project activity, making the scheme flexible and straightforward to manage. And then I'll just briefly walk you through the different types of MSCA actions, starting with the doctoral networks. These are international programs that bring together universities, research institutions, and companies to train PhD candidates, combining advanced research skills with transferable competences and strong career prospects. They emphasize international, intersectoral, and interdisciplinary mobility with an innovation-focused approach. Beyond the standard doctoral networks, there are two incentives to support two specific formats. These are joint doctorates, awarded by multiple institutions, and industrial doctorates, where candidates spend time of their training in industry. Both of these aim to give researchers a strong interdisciplinary and intersectoral foundation. Next up, we have the postdoctoral fellowships. These fellowships support excellent researchers who already hold a PhD and want to develop their careers further. They provide funding for mobility, training, and research projects, helping postdocs to strengthen their skills and to broaden their networks. The scheme also encourages researchers to work on research and innovation projects in the non-academic sector. Then we have CoFund, which is a scheme that allows the EU to co-finance new or existing doctoral and postdoctoral programs that are run by institutions, regions, or countries. The idea is to extend the MSCA standards of excellence and mobility more broadly, promoting international, intersectoral, and interdisciplinary research training while leveraging national or regional funds. And then we have MSCA and Citizens, which is focused on public outreach. The most visible event here is the European Researchers' Night, where researchers engage directly with the public to raise awareness of science and to inspire young people. Yes, and then finally we have the pilot initiative Choose Europe for Science. This is a co-funding scheme that supports postdoctoral programs, and it aims to attract and retain talented researchers in Europe by offering competitive opportunities as well as strengthening Europe's position as a leading destination for research careers. The initiative is designed to counter brain drain and to reduce the precarity that is often faced by young career researchers, or early career researchers, sorry, and making Europe more appealing to the most promising young talent. The first pilot call was launched this year, and a second is planned for 2027, at which point it will replace the postdoctoral fellowship scheme under CoFund. Yes. And now I will pass the floor back to Laura, who will begin to dive into what most of us are here for today, which is the MSCA Work Program 2026 and 2027.
Thank you, Louise. Just to make a quick announcement, the new work package has actually been released yesterday and is available on the Funding and Tenders portal. So we'll share a link in the presentation so you can find it that way. Just an overview over the course in 26 to 27 and their opening and closure dates. And as you can see, the closure dates are spread out as usual, so that doctoral networks and postdoctoral fellowships closes in fall, and staff exchange, Choose Europe, and CoFund closes in spring. So the budget for 26 to 27, as you can see, there's a minor reduction for the budget, and this is following the MFF review and a reduction also in the contribution of the UK. So let's go through some of the overall changes that applies to most of the calls. As a first point, as you can see, a minimum score threshold of 3 has been implemented on all criteria. And this is to ensure a minimum level of quality and also to guarantee some consistencies in the rules across Horizon Europe. But in practice, this will not have a major impact on applicants. As you probably already know, a high overall score is required in order to obtain funding. So the next change is a review in an increase of the living and top-up allowances. And this is an adaptation according to inflation and, of course, to ensure that researchers under the Marie Curie Actions will still have attractive working conditions. So the next change involves highlighting of issues related to research security. And this involves both addition of a general text designed to ensure policy consistency across the sub-programs. And also 2 eligibility conditions has been added to sorry, let me rephrase that, for most calls. So the first eligibility condition that has been added is an existing eligibility condition on high-risk suppliers of mobile network communication equipment. And this is a part of the restrictions for the protection of European communication networks described in General Annex B. So also a new specific restriction has been added, introducing the restrictions regarding the participation of Chinese universities linked to the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, MIIT, and you might also know them as the Seven Sons. And this addition is the result of changes in the General Annex Part B, where the matter is also addressed. Finally, we have a clarification of the exception to the mobility rule for refugees. And this clarifies that the exception should not only cover the period to obtain the refugee status, but also for the period during which the refugee status has been held. So we'll go to the changes for doctoral networks. The first point is that a maximum duration of secondment has been increased from 1/3 to half of the fellowship. And for doctoral networks in particular, the duration of secondment is for the months spent implementing the research training activities under the action. And just to be clear, the limitation continues to apply only to standard doctoral networks and not to industrial or joint doctoral networks. So as the next change, we have a review of the country correction coefficients. And this is an adaptation to the latest data from Eurostat and, of course, also to the inflation. Also, we have an introduction of a minimum ceiling of 70%, so that no individual country CCC will be below 70%. And again, this is to ensure attractive working conditions for the researchers worldwide under Marie Curie. Next, the enrollment rule in doctoral network has been relaxed so that researchers recruited by a beneficiary established in a non-associated third country may solely be enrolled in a doctoral program offered in the country where the beneficiary is established. So previously, candidates were required to be enrolled in a doctoral school in a member state or an associated country, but these rules offer greater flexibility for entities from third countries to participate as beneficiaries. So last but not least, as you might have seen, there's been a reference to raised doctoral networks included under Doctoral Networks 2027. So raised doctoral network is an initiative under the strategic action, also called RAISE, and this action was launched in November by the Commission. And RAISE stands for the Resource for Artificial Intelligence Science in Europe. So RAISE Doctoral Network will follow the methodology of MSCA doctoral networks and will have the same application requirements and procedures as the Marie Curie doctoral networks. However, RAISE doctoral networks will have a specific focus on AI. So if you want to know more about this initiative, it's further described in Work Package Annex 14 on horizontal activities and is funded under Cluster 4. And therefore, you can also join the webinar regarding Cluster 4 this Monday from 12:30 to learn more about the action. Yes. So for postdoctoral fellowships, the main change that has been made is that the resubmission ceiling has been increased to 80%. And this is both to align with doctoral networks and also as a demand management measurement. So if you might know that we've seen a rapid increase in the submissions for postdoctoral fellowships this year, and data has shown that this measurement could significantly lower the amounts of submissions. Also, data shows that the proposals scoring below 80% in the previous calls do not really improve their success rate compared to the average of the call. So as we saw in doctoral networks, the max duration of secondment has also been increased from 1/3 to half of the fellowship. And for the European fellowship, this applies to half of the requested duration of the action. For the global postdoctoral fellowship, this applies to the optional secondment, which are now permitted for up to half of the outgoing phase. So, and as in doctoral network, you can see that the country correction coefficients has been reviewed, and also the minimum ceiling of 70% has been introduced. So now I think Louise will join me to tell you a little bit more about the staff exchange.
Yes. Yes, there have been several updates to staff exchanges as well, where the aim is to strengthen the idea of the international, intersectoral, and interdisciplinary mobility in the program description, while giving projects more flexibility in how they meet this requirement, both in the eligibility rules and in how mobility can be designed in the proposals. First, the scope text has been adjusted to signal greater flexibility in achieving all 3 dimensions of mobility. The international dimension is now emphasized more clearly, with explicit encouragement for cooperation with non-associated third countries. The section skills on development and how this should be reflected in the proposal has also been made more explicit. And then there are several modifications in the eligibility rules or the conditions, such as same-sector secondments are now allowed. The rule that requires the participation of a non-associated third country when all organizations were from the same sector has been removed. Previous eligibility rules stated that interdisciplinary secondments should be limited to a maximum of 1/3 of the total months spent on the action, and this 1/3 rule, as it was called, has been dropped. Then same sector, then both academic and non-academic sectors, they must be represented in the consortium. And finally, the requirement that staff must have been engaged in R&I activities for at least 1 month before their first secondment, that is the so-called 1-month rule, has also been dropped. So as you can see, the reason for these modifications has been to add flexibility and simplification to the action. Then we have co-fund, where, as if you remember from doctoral networks and postdoctoral fellowships, the maximum duration of secondments has also been increased from 1/3 to half of the fellowship. In the evaluation criteria, a new dedicated criterion on research excellence has been added. At the same time, the scientific dimension has been removed from the 3rd excellence subcriterion, as it is already assessed under the first excellent subcriterion. And then under admissibility conditions, the exemption for programs, or the exemption that allowed programs, with implementing partners to omit a dissemination and exploitation plan has been removed, so that all proposals must now include such a plan, which has been to which has been to make the proposals more even. And then Choose Europe for Science, the pilot in 2027 will be launched, which is a scale-up from the 2025 pilot through a synchronized call with co-fund. As mentioned earlier, Choose Europe for Science will focus on postdoctoral programs, while co-fund will solely concentrate on doctoral programs. And then we'll just jump right into the Choose Europe for Science call or pilot in 2027, which, as I mentioned, is a scale-up from this year's pilot. It remains a mono-beneficiary scheme, but beneficiaries, they can now involve two types of partners, such as implementing partners who can recruit and host researchers, as well as claim cost, and associated partners who contribute to the project without recruiting researchers or claiming any costs. As in the 2025 pilot, the action consists of two phases. However, in this second pilot in 2027, the beneficiary can choose the order of the phases. The two phases are the EU-funded phase, which is 24 or 36 months and covers both researcher and institutional costs at the full postdoctoral fellowship rate. Also, country correction coefficients has been added, which they weren't in the 2025 call, and they apply to the living allowance. The beneficiary funded phase lasts 24 months, and during which the beneficiary covers all costs and sets the remuneration according to national rules. Then we have the total budget of 51.25 million euros, which is nearly double the 22.5 million euros that was available in the first call, and with a maximum of 5 million euros per beneficiary per call. Yes. Then I'll just briefly give you a heads up about a couple of changes that you need to be aware of, which are the proposal templates. They will be updated and simplified, as well as the guide for applicants and the handbooks. They are being revised, and they still contain all the key information that you need to put together a strong proposal. So please be aware of these. And then we have some useful links and documents on MSCA in general. On the Danish website, you can find information on Marie Skłodowska Curie Actions. And then we have Radiance, which is the NCP network, where you can find the handbooks and other tools that can help you with the proposal process and during the projects. And then, of course, the Marie Curie Actions official website, where you can find the calls when they open and close and find the guide for applicants and such things. Yeah. Yes. And then we'll now invite Emily to take the floor. Emily is a senior advisor at the Department of Research, Advice and Innovation at DTU. And she will share some practical insights into the application process. Please feel free to continue directing any questions you must have to us and to Emily's presentation as well, and we will gather them up at the end. And then I think I will stop sharing my screen so that Emily can share hers, I think. Oh, wait. There she press allow. Multiple presenters.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear Emily. I just
Great.
think must stop sharing my screen, right? So that you can share yours. Stop share. Yes, I think you should be able.
Can you see my slides now?
Yeah, we can see them. They're not in present. Oh yeah, there they are.
There we go. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for inviting me. I've been asked by Louise and Laura to give sort of a bit of an overview as to how we work at DTU with the MSCA process. So obviously, if you're a DTU researcher, this will be very relevant. But if you're not, I think it's good inspiration and hopefully something that you can go and talk to with your local fundraisers. So just a bit about where I sit and what our sort of mandate is in relation to the MSCA editorial network. So I sit within Research Support DTU, so that's a central team. And within our team, we sit in the research office within the Department of Research, Advice and Innovation. And there are 5 of us who work across doctoral networks, and 3 of us within that who work with the postdoctoral fellowship. And as you can see here, our sort of little figure shows that we work from everything from the sort of initial project idea until the project is either granted or rejected. And we may work across all of this for a proposal, or it might be that the department takes the idea development and we're just doing the reviews at the end, or it might be in a different way around. So it's working, we try and work collaboratively with the department fundraisers, and I didn't put it here, but if there's a consultancy on board as well, that's also something that we'll kind of take into account to make sure that the researcher gets the best support they need and there's no sort of double work. We find that if there's too many people reviewing one proposal, sometimes it gets a little bit, it's a lot of work for the researcher to go through. Right, so our typical timeline for a doctoral network application, we send an info package out to all the applicants. So this includes the MSCA Doctoral Network Handbook. We've created a DTU supplement to that. So this will contain DTU specific information for different sections. We also send an offer of support, so we outline the sort of support that we offer, sign up to our workshop, and we send this to the department fundraisers and anyone we have on our list who may be interested. And this list of emails that we get is from either from the department fundraisers, from researchers themselves reaching out to us. That might be because they've seen the MSCA Doctoral Network within our funding newsletter that gets sent out every month, or because they've had a chat with us. Yes. So this is obviously a bit of a running process. We have one main time when we send out to everyone, but then as people come in, we'll send this sort of same stock email out to them, just so that they have all the information in one package. So another thing that we've been running for the last couple of years has been a writing workshop, and this is offered to DTU coordinators, and we focus on first-time applicants, and we focus on specific sections of the proposal that we have found in our experience either maybe don't score so well, or we have seen in our reviewing process could do with more focus or seem to be of importance. And when we did this last year, we also found a lot of fundraisers came. I think that was great because then they could sort of sit together and talk about what it's like from the fundraiser perspective, and particularly the people running the projects who turned up, who could really have a sort of what's it really like in practice, and how that might play into the application. And after that, the main bulk of our work is reviewing the applications. We review both B1 and B2, and we do provide comments and direct suggestions to the text. And then finally, a quick check of the A forms, just to make sure everything's in place, and hopefully to avoid a full ethics assessment. So back to that writing workshop, this is just to share the agenda that we usually do. And this takes about 2.5, 3 hours to go through. And we sort of try and refresh it each year with, okay, what are we seeing from the previous applications? What worked well last year? What didn't work so well this year? So I think maybe this year, because we had so many research support staff, that we should make something that's also more tailored to them as well. And then for the postdoctoral fellowship, like I say, there's less of us who work with postdoctoral fellowship. We have the same kind of info package that we sent out. And instead of it being us that run a workshop, it's Nordic 5 Tech, our alliance partners, that help, that run a sort of online webinar meeting. So it's a presentation from research support people across Nordic 5 Tech. It's mostly Alto that runs it. And then they usually ask us or the other Nordic 5 Tech partners for 1 or 2 recent winners. Then in terms of the reviewing of the application, because we're a little bit more constrained resource-wise, and we think that we can make the most difference on the training and the impact section, so that's where we focus. And then again, we or the departments will either do a final check of the A forms to make sure everything's in place, and again, to avoid that full ethics assessment if there's anything relevant that needs to be touched upon. So again, just to quickly share the agenda for the postdoctoral fellowship info meeting that is run with Nordic 5 Tech. So as you can see, we put in success stories. So we have Frederick Howland from DTU, and then there's a postdoctoral fellowship, Ruben, something that I can't see because my face is in the way, Pedrani, from Chalmers University. So I think it's a great mechanism to sort of lift a bit of pressure off of DTU and to work together with our partners. So yeah, I think that's all I had to say. Yes.
Great. Thank you, Emily. That was great. Thank you for your presentation. And we have not received any questions in the Q&A. If you have any, please
Submit them now.
submit them now so that Emily may have a chance to answer some questions before she has to leave.
That doesn't seem to be the case. So,
No.
thank you very much, Emily, for joining us today.
All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
So we have a couple of minutes left for the webinar. So if you have any questions for the work program, or anything else related to the Marie Curie actions, please don't hesitate to ask them.
Yes. If you should think of any questions afterwards that you didn't get to put in the Q&A, you can always contact us on the MSCA ncp@ufmdk email, where we'll be responding to anything. Also, we have our personal or our work emails in one of the first slides with all of our colleagues, so you can also just contact us there as well. But there does not seem to be
Any questions?
any questions.
Well,
So maybe
I
we'll
think
just end it here.
Yeah, let's round up and then say thank you for your participation, and have a very nice Friday.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll join one of our colleagues for some more interesting webinars today or Monday or Thursday.
Yeah. And thank you again, Emily, for a great presentation. So
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
bye.